First at noon, FBI agents investigating the Nancy Guthrie disappearance are searching the Catalina foothills in Arizona today. Overnight, a man who was detained for a few hours in connection with the case spoke with CBS News. Jared Hill has the latest.
Missing person billboards for Nancy Guthrie are now in multiple states, including California, as the search for the 84-year-old mother of Today's Show co-host Savannah Guthrie intensifies.
Somebody who's not aware of what's going on, they're going to see that, and they might have seen her somewhere, so that could be that one little tip.
In a statement Wednesday, the FBI said agents are conducting an extensive search along multiple roadways in the Catalina foothills near Tucson, Arizona. Overnight, the FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department searched the home of a person in Rio Rico, Arizona, but they released him hours later.
I didn't do anything, to be honest. I'm innocent.
A delivery driver named Carlos said he didn't even know who Savannah Guthrie was.
I don't follow the news.
Right.
I don't watch.
You don't watch the Today Show.
No.
So this was a complete shock.
It was.
What kind of questions were they asking you?
Nothing. They didn't ask me no questions.
So
nothing,
they just said,
nothing. They just sat me in the car. They investigated my car and this land, and that's it.
Investigators are hoping newly released images captured by a security camera outside Nancy Guthrie's home the night she went missing will help lead to a break in the case. The chilling video shows an armed, masked person wearing gloves and a backpack.
Possible identification of unique factors from that video to include what appears to be a firearm on the front of his waistband and a unique looking holster. Maybe somebody saw those details and can provide a tip to law enforcement that results in a person being captured.
The FBI is reminding the public that a $50,000 reward is offered for information leading to Nancy Guthrie's recovery. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Here at home, the elderly woman who was hit by a vehicle in the Liliha area this morning has died. It happened just before 7 on North Kuakini Street. HPD says the 93-year-old pedestrian was crossing the street in a marked crosswalk with the walk signal illuminated when the driver, a 67-year-old man, turned left from a driveway and hit her. The woman was taken to the hospital where she later died. At this time, speed, drugs, or alcohol do not appear to be factors in the crash. This is Oahu's 7th traffic fatality of the year. There were also 7 deaths at this time last year. On Hawaii Island, the arrest of a burglary suspect in Kailua Kona also leads to charges in an assault that allegedly happened inside a woman's home. Christopher Zabriskie was arrested last week on charges that he took $50,000 worth of goods from a store on Lopico Street. During the investigation, police identified him as the suspect in an assault case that was reported back in January. He's due in court today for the burglary charge and next week Friday for the abuse case. Hawaii's highest court has ruled in a long-running dispute between insurance companies and Maui wildfire survivors over settlement money. A'ali Iduklo explains how the decision could lead to the start of payments within weeks.
On Tuesday, Hawaii's highest court ruled subrogating insurers do not have a protectable interest that allows them to intervene. It issued the same unanimous opinion against the insurance industry last year, saying they do not have a right to interfere with the victim's ability to settle a claim.
It's time to start moving forward.
Lahaina fire survivor Kekoa Lansford has been waiting for more than a year for much-needed compensation from the more than $4 billion global settlement. He plans to use the money to help rebuild his Ilikahi Street home near Waiola Church.
It was a family home. It was a home for my whole family for many, many years. I think a lot of us are ready to start moving on and going, towards a positive new direction.
Lansford is among more than 21,000 survivors waiting to get paid. The deal, which includes the state, county, and Hawaiian Electric, was announced nearly a year after the August 8, 2023 tragedy. And ever since, insurance companies have tried to stake a claim to much of the money.
I think it would be wise for the insurance companies to show some remorse. These guys are, at this point, in my opinion, just being greedy.
I hope the insurance companies get the message.
Attorney Cynthia Wong, who represents survivors, says the decision could lead to a dismissal for another pending appeal from the insurance companies and deter them from trying again.
The Supreme Court has moved extremely quickly because they recognize that the victims need the funds to move forward to build their lives.
Another lawyer for Lahaina fire victims, Jesse Creed, lost his own home to the Palisades fire in California last year, so he knows firsthand how critical the money is for those on Maui.
As a survivor myself, I feel that really you got to bring as much resources as possible to help the people.
I really hope that these insurance people can see this and they can have some compassion for the people who lost their home.
Thank you so much, Ali. Let's take a look outside at our first alert weather forecast. You can see winds outside right now between 20 to 25 miles per hour. Seeing sustained winds out there at the airport around 23 miles per hour. So still breezy outside today, but not as strong of winds as what we were seeing over the weekend. Taking a look at our maximum wind gusts over the last 24 hours, you can slowly see these start to come down because, again, we did have some wind gusts getting closer to that 60 mile per hour range on Sunday and Monday. And again, winds are going to continue to be breezy, but weaken as we go into Thursday and Friday with more sunshine in the sky. A lot of the rainfall is off to the southwest of us right now. We're seeing a few showers over windward areas. I'll give you a full breakdown of this coming up.
Thank you, Drew. Not a new widespread reaction after Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke said it's possible she's the influential lawmaker in a donation scandal. H&N Investigates Daryl Huff examines corrections in Luke's campaign records and why some are suspicious.
Sylvia Luke was elected partly because of her reputation for honesty and transparency. That reputation is under its toughest test, even though when the case first broke, she was among the most outspoken for ethics reform.
So this is not something that we can just say, hey, you know, it happened and we can move on. We have to fix it.
What Sylvia Luke didn't know in February 2022 was that Ty Cullen, her vice chair on the powerful House Finance Committee, had been an FBI informant since his arrest in October 2021 and had worn a recording device when she met with him and a lobbyist on January 20, 2022, when she said she accepted two $5,000 checks from the lobbyist and his daughter. As a candidate in a four-way race for lieutenant governor, the donation was legal.
That was not unusual. During that time, we were having a lot of support from different folks.
On February 8, 2022, Cullen and Senator Kalani English were charged with accepting bribes from wastewater company executive Milton Choi. Choi's name became public a couple days later, and Luke immediately said she would return thousands in legal contributions from Choi and his associates.
And I encourage everybody else who received money from Milton Choi to forfeit that money as well.
Barely a week later, Luke's campaign donated $25,100 in Choi-related donations to the state election fund. And the next month, she gave back the $10,000 she got from the lobbyist and daughter from the meeting with Cullen.
Because he was close friends with Ty Cullen, I felt uncomfortable about keeping his money.
A full year after that, to get Cullen a break for his cooperation, federal prosecutors wrote the explosive account of the mysterious meeting on January 20, 2022, where the influential state legislator supposedly received approximately $35,000 for a campaign. It started a firestorm of speculation that only recently centered on Luke, which seemed unlikely.
It's out of character with what we know Sylvia Luke, who we know Sylvia Luke is, which is, a very competent, very accomplished, detail-oriented legislator.
Adding to suspicion the fact that the two checks from the lobbyist and his daughter had not been reported to the Campaign Spending Commission. If they had been, reporters and others would have seen that donations were made the same day as the meeting described in the federal court filings. Luke called it a clerical error.
And so, of course, we were very irritated that our campaign team did not do what they were supposed to do.
To correct its reports, the campaign amended scores of campaign spending filings on Friday, 4 days ago, raising more suspicion. But Luke says she has no regrets, even though the reporting implicated her.
And the fact that, now there's 25,000 here and 10,000 here, cobbled together, there's 35,000. Even at that risk, we have to report because we have to be transparent.
And it's hard to understand how someone who's been doing this for so long would have made mistakes around something so sensitive. I think that's what is difficult to understand.
Luke is now hoping that her explanation tour of media outlets will convince voters in the August primary that she's done nothing wrong and still deserves her reputation for trust. Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
Daryl. And legal experts say a special prosecutor should take over the investigation from the state attorney general. They say the AG has a potential conflict of interest because Ann Lopez is appointed by the governor, making her and Lieutenant Governor Luke part of the executive branch.
We should have a special prosecutor who is independent, who comes in and does the investigation. We do not need the attorney general investigating another member of the executive branch.
The Attorney General's office denied a conflict exists, saying a specialized unit is conducting an independent and unbiased investigation.
Attorney General Pam Bondi spars with lawmakers over the Justice Department's handling of the Epstein files. I'm Erica Brown with more from the Congressional Hearing and the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse.
Also ahead on This Is Now, Dawson's Creek star James Vanderbeek has died at the age of 48. What we know about his passing.
Coming up today at 12:30, it's The Rally Point. We'll be sitting down with Major General Stephen Logan, the Adjutant General of the Hawaii National Guard, to talk about what's going on at the Guard. Catch The Rally Point on the HNN streaming app, available on Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Fire.
Canadians are mourning the day after one of the country's deadliest shootings that left 8 people dead and several others injured in a remote part of British Columbia. Authorities say 6 people were fatally shot at a school in the small town of Tumbler Ridge in the Canadian Rockies. The victims include 5 students and 1 teacher. Officials say the female suspect's mother and stepbrother were also found dead in their home. The motive at this time is unclear. House lawmakers held an oversight hearing for the Department of Justice, but the most heated questions for Attorney General Pam Bondi centered around the department's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Erica Brown has more from Capitol Hill.
In a contentious hearing Thursday, Attorney General Pam Bondi sparred with lawmakers on the House Judiciary Committee over the Justice Department's handling of the Epstein files.
Were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein files.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath.
Republican Congressman Thomas Massey says lawmakers discovered the names of powerful men that he says were unlawfully redacted in the files.
He's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking.
Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
Okay.
and we invited you
Show the
in.
video.
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome.
Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse slammed the Justice Department's handling of the files after some sensitive information about them was not redacted in the publicly released material, while details about potential co-conspirators were concealed.
Abusers' names and contact information is redacted while our faces and stories are left on full display. This is not protection. This is betrayal.
When asked by lawmakers to apologize to survivors at the hearing, Bondi instead defended the DOJ's handling of the files.
We were given 30 days to review and redact and unredact millions of pages of documents. Our error rate is very low.
Bondi also touted the Justice Department's efforts to target drug cartels, fight violent crime, and aid in the Trump administration's immigration enforcement. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
James Vanderbeek, star of Dawson's Creek and Varsity Blues, has died at the age of 48. Vanderbeek announced in November 2024 that he had been diagnosed with colorectal cancer. His cause of death was not shared, but his wife posted on social media that he passed peacefully this morning and he met his final days with courage, faith, and grace.
And stick around. Coming up after the break, we've got your full first alert weather forecast. A few showers over windward areas the next couple of days, riding in along the trade winds. More cloud cover this weekend. I'll give you the details coming up.
First Alert Weather with Drew Davis.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Here's a quick look at our First Alert weather headlines and what we have in store over the next couple of days. Conditions have been improving statewide. The sun is out today over Oahu. Breezy through this weekend. A couple of windward showers out there, a couple of splashes. Not a ton of rainfall, maybe a tenth to a quarter of an inch and some passing showers. And we also have a high surf advisory up on east-facing shores. Let's take a look at some of the alerts that we have up. A winter weather advisory, some freezing rain and snow possible on the summits of Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea. You can take a look at the live cam up there. Still really cool to see the snow up at the Ukert Observatory. Our high surf advisory is still up on all east-facing shores until 6 p.m. this evening. And giving you a quick look, it's still pretty choppy out on the waters. Until 6 p.m. Thursday, we've got easterlies between 20 to 25 knots, seas closer to 7 to 12 feet. Our first alert radar and satellite, you can see a lot of activity as the system is moving off towards the southwest of us. But overall, over the islands, relatively calm. A few showers moving in towards the Puna district of Hawaii Island. Showers along windward Maui, just Smelka of Hana out there, and so closer to Paia. Moving over to Oahu, most of the moisture has been along the Ko'olau mountain range this afternoon, but not a ton of rainfall out there, and a few sprinkles over on Kauai, but relatively dry as well. And this is going to be the pattern going forward. The moisture is getting pushed up against the windward parts of each island, passing showers in the overnight, more sunshine in the afternoon. You can see green just out there over the next couple of days. Maybe a weak band of moisture moving in Saturday into Sunday, so some more moisture possible as we're going into this weekend with some cloudier skies out there. Also in our first alert windcast, you can see the winds just sticking around, being pretty breezy, between 10 to 15 miles per hour in the overnight, getting a little bit stronger each afternoon, closer to that 20 mile per hour range. And then we're going to continue to see them breezy all the way into this weekend. Rainfall accumulation, nothing crazy, maybe a 1/10 of an inch in some spots, a 1/4 of an inch, maybe some more rainfall over the eastern half of the state over towards Hana and closer to Hilo. Our surf and shoreline forecast, here's the numbers. North and west facing shores on the decline, east facing shores around 6 to 8 feet, south facing shores pretty small, around 1 to 3 for your Thursday morning. Now our 7-day forecast, there's a lot to talk about here, seeing passing showers over the next couple of days. Valentine's Day, a little bit cloudy out there, 20% chance for rainfall with more cloud cover in the sky. President's Day, breezy and partly sunny out there. Overall, looking much nicer than what we experienced over this past weekend. And of course, if you want a full breakdown of the overall weather pattern, these new episodes of The Drew Point, we got another one coming up at 1:30 p.m. today on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, YouTube, and Facebook Live. We'll give you the full breakdown of what you can expect over the next couple of days.
It's day 5 of the 2026 Winter Games. Here's a live look at the Olympic Cauldron in Milan. Coming up throughout the day on KHNL, more of the best winter athletes in the world compete for a spot in the history books. And let's take a look at the latest medal count. Norway and Italy lead the pack with 13 total medals each, followed by the U.S. with 11 total medals. We have 4 golds in women's downhill skiing, 2 in figure skating, and 1 in men's speed skating.
I've been saying we've got to pump those numbers up. We're only a couple medals behind. We are climbing. We need more golds, though.
That's right.
That's the goal.
All right, well, February is American Heart Month, and this year's message is powerful. You are the first responder until help arrives.
And the American Heart Association is helping to teach people hands-only CPR, and it could save someone you love. Casey Lund has more.
Aloha from the Heart Association offices here, where a lot of important work happens, a lot of advocating, especially during Heart Month, and that's what we're celebrating in February. A good time to do that. We have the Heart Ball coming up next weekend, and of course the Heart Walk every year, really driving home the messaging. And this year's campaign, kind of, you are the first responder, as you said, until help arrives. I want to bring on Elizabeth Cotterell with us. She is Director of Community Impact. Thank you for being with us today. Tell me a little bit about that theme and what that means. We just had earlier today on a survivor, Terry Ann, who was fortunate enough to be surrounded by people that stepped in as that first responder, right?
Yeah, so this year's theme is really about making people realize that in the event of a cardiac emergency, they are the first responder until professional help arrives. So when a cardiac emergency happens, they are the ones that needs to act.
I wanted to talk a little bit about workplace efforts to make sure that your team at work is educated on hands-only CPR, that what we see here, what we're seeing on the screen. And what other things should people be kind of having conversations about? Most big organizations kind of have these systems in place, but say you work in a small office, maybe start that conversation, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are some very simple things that communities, workplaces, different organizations can do to make sure that they're ready in the event of emergency. And one of those is to just make sure they have a plan in place. And so that just means knowing who's going to call 911, who's going to start hands-only CPR, and where the AED is and how to use it.
And if you don't have an AED, where the closest one is, but again, kind of delegating those roles when you have multiple people in an office. Okay, somebody has to take charge, right?
Yes, absolutely. So identifying who on your team is going to do what in that situation.
Very good. And then, I want to just mention we have been kind of playing these on a loop, and we're seeing these on the screen here. These are the American Heart Association has a wealth of educational materials that's absolutely free for people, right? Where can they go to learn more?
Yes, they can go to our website at heart.org to view all types of resources on hands-only CPR, how to, protect your heart health. And
get involved. The Heart Walk, there's all kinds of ways you can get involved. Donate, volunteer with the American Heart Association. Thank you for all you do. Just a reminder again, that website, heart.org. If you missed any of that information, you want to learn more about the Heart Walk that happens every year, you can also go to hawaiinewsnow.com. We'll send things back into the studio for now.
Thank you so much, Casey. Very important information. Again, the next couple of days looking a lot nicer out there. A few sprinkles possible, but overall, most of the moisture will be over windward areas. Valentine's Day looking a little bit gloomy out there. More sunshine going into the President's Day and Lunar New Year. Looks like a much nicer weather pattern compared to what we were seeing this past weekend.
Thanks for watching. This is Now, everyone. More news first at 4 right here on KHNL.